Hey everyone, welcome to this live stream this afternoon or evening, depending on where you are. I am doing this because someone, one of my Goats 365 members recently emailed me and asked what she should do because she just realized that one of her dolings, she's about a month old, she just realized that she has an extra teat and she's wondering what she should do about that. The answer to this is going to vary based on a few things. If you have meat or fiber goats, people in those worlds don't really care about extra teats. But if you have dairy goats, then that is a disqualification in the show ring. And so there's nothing stopping you from registering a goat with an extra teat, but you really shouldn't, because if that goat, even if the person buying it isn't planning to show it, if they decide in a couple of years to sell it, that buyer doesn't look at it carefully, which if the goat's not in milk, you'd have to flip, you have to lift them up, flip them over, and look pretty carefully to see that they have an extra teat if they're not in milk. And so somebody could buy that goat, take it to a show, and then the judge is going to look and they're going to get disqualified. She also asked about removing the teat. There's no good reason to do that. I actually saw somebody at a show. He was getting very close to going into the ring, and he realized that this doeling, she was probably a couple months old, realized she had an extra teat. And I saw him grab a pair of nail clippers and snip it off. And I don't know what it looked like when we went into the ring, but I do know that goat got placed at the end of the line. It was very nice of the judge not to disqualify the goat because he totally could have done that. However, he put that goat at the end of the line because he said the doe in front of her had a better mammary system. And so that's basically why, if you're raising dairy goats, you need to be striving for the best possible mammary system. And a goat with an extra teat does not have a good mammary system. There's a couple different ways this can go. You can have a fishtail teat, and so that kind of looks like this. It looks like two teats like almost stuck together. You could also have like two perfectly good normal teats and then another teat somewhere off to the side. Like in a kid, it could be an inch away, but then when they freshen, it could be several inches away from the main teat and could be sticking out on the side. One thing I have heard of, some people say is that a lot of times that is a blind teat, meaning that it does not produce milk. And so I have heard people say that they've had kids starving because they were sucking on that teat and not getting any milk. So it's really not a good thing to have that. I once heard a meat goat person say like, oh, that's great. They can feed more kids that way. No, they can't. They don't have a third udder. They have a third teat. And like I said, frequently it's a blind teat. Even if some milk does come out of it, it's not going to be very much. They're not going to produce any more milk because of that. So anyway, and they are genetic. And so it's a recessive gene. So it's not, it can be hidden. You can have a goat that's got a completely normal mammary system. She can have a kid that can have a teat defect. So you don't want to keep breeding those animals with the teat defects because you'll just keep getting more teat defects. And if you're milking it, that extra teat can get in the way. It can make it harder for you to milk. It can make it impossible to use a milking machine if it's in the wrong place, because it can really be anywhere from, like I said, the fishtail where it's like a double teat, which that's not going to fit into an inflation on a milking machine, or it could wind up being 2 or 3 inches away on the side of the udder when the goat is in milk. The best thing to do with those does is just to sell them as a pet without papers, because again, you don't, even if the person buying them doesn't want to show them, they could wind up selling them in a couple of years to somebody else who does want to show them. And then that would be a really horrible situation if somebody wound up in the show ring and got disqualified and they did not realize that their goat had that extra teat, or they didn't realize that it was a problem. So if you've got any more questions about this, feel free to post in the comment section below and I'll get back to you.